Welcome to the data visualization ScatterPlot video. In this video, I'll show you how to create a scatter plot. There are three steps you're going to need to do. Number one, you're going to need to get your files. Number two, you'll edit your Excel sheet and you'll follow these subpoints here. And number three, you'll edit the Python code. So let's start with step one, get your files. So what you'll need to do is open up a new tab in your browser and go to drive.google.com. Once you get to drive.google.com, you'll find your 8th grade math folder and then the data visualization file, zip file that you created. If you two-finger click on it and download it, that will download your data visualization zip file. For some of you, it'll open up in your browser and you can click on it and it'll open. For others of you, it'll download straight into your downloads folder. So if you go ahead and find it, find the zip file, and if you click on it, it'll unzip that file and you've got a folder now with your work that you have completed. Some of you might have a view in Finder where it shows you this view, it shows you the inside of the folder. If you just click the back, you'll be able to see a full view of not only your zip file, but the data visualization file. Related to step one, it says make copies of your .py and .xls file. So what we want to do is, since we're doing a scatter plot, we want to find the scatter plot. We want to two-finger click on it and duplicate it. And then we want to rename this. So the copy we want to rename to our last name underscore scatter, and I'll get rid of the word copy. So now it should be underscore scatter.py or your last name underscore scatter.py. And then it also says to make a copy of the XLS file. So similar to what we did with our worksheet, we're going to two-finger click on the master data file. We'll duplicate it, and we'll also two-finger click and rename it. And this time we're going to name it the same thing as our scatter plot, our Python file. So underscore scatter.xls. So now I should have two files of the same name. They're just different file applications. So Python and then Excel. I'm done with step one. I'll move on to step two. So it says get the data you need on a new sheet. So I'll go ahead and open up the Excel file here. And what I'll ultimately need to do is any story that I'm going to tell, I'm going to need to create a new sheet for it. So if I click the plus, I will have a new sheet. It doesn't matter really what you name it. I'll go ahead and just rename it ScatterPlot. But again, the name of this sheet doesn't matter. Now, here's what I will tell you at this point. I can't tell you what data you will have. That's up to you and the story that you will tell. I'm going to make a sample one right now, but ultimately what you do need to do is compare your data to the handout. And the handout is the one that was given to you in class. So if I was making a scatter plot that looked like this, well, my data needs to look something like this, where years, you can see column A appears on my x-axis, and then each one of these lines for the US appears in column B, the EU appears in column C, and Russia appears in column D. And now all of their values, you'll see Python has created that as the X or the Y axis. But again, I can't tell you what data you're going to use for your scatter plot. All I can say is that it should look like this in columnar format, with each of these columns representing a scatter of data. Okay, so I'll go ahead and make my own, and so you're going to make your own. If you want to pause it and start making your own, that's fine, but I'll go ahead and grab my information. So I want to do years here. And I'll do two-finger click. I'll paste special. Oops, it didn't look like I pasted that or copied that. So I'll go ahead and copy over years. And I'll transpose it. All right, those are my years. and I'll just do the US here, and I'll go back to the emissions, and I'll find the United States. I'll copy it, Command C and Command V. Oops, I should have done paste special so I can transpose it. There we go. I'll just get one more. In this one, I did US and European Union. I'll go ahead and find the US and we'll say Japan. So I'll go ahead and grab Japan's data and I'll type in Japan, and then I'll paste special. Again, I didn't do that correctly. Where paste special, let me go back here, copy all of Japan's data and paste it here, transpose it here. There we go. So again, whatever your story is, it just should look something similar to this scatter plot information, right? So now I am done with step 2, almost. It says to delete all the other sheets. If you remember from our worksheet here, Algebra Practice with Excel, I always asked you to delete unnecessary sheets. It's because Python can only read one sheet from an Excel file. So if you've got multiple open, it's going to get screwed up. So I'll go ahead and click on a sheet, two-finger click on it, and delete. And I can delete that. And remember, I can click on each one of these, hold the Shift button. So if I click on a sheet, hold Shift, click on another one, hold Shift, then I can two-finger click and delete all 3 of them at the same time. And now I've got only my sheet. That's the way that it's going to work. So I'll go ahead and save that. All right. The last step is to edit Python code. So my Python code is located in my folder. It was this umen_scatter.py, but I'm not going to access it by double-clicking there. It might open up the wrong program, so I will do Command spacebar, and I'll type terminal, and I'll hit enter. Terminal is an application that allows you to do a variety of different things. In our case, it's going to allow us to open up Python, so you can type in IDLE3 and hit enter. Again, that's IDLE, idle3, and that's going to open up Python for us. And so right now I can do file open, and I need to find that Python file that I created. So Finder opened it, mine up in a strange place. I need to find my folder. Mine was in downloads, and I'll go ahead and click on my folder, and I'll look for my scatterplot.py. I'll double click on it, and here's my Python file. Now before you get overwhelmed, anything in red is just information for you. Anything that says your job is something that you need to do specifically. So you need to find the places where it says your job, and then you you need to do what it tells you to do there. But otherwise, it's just giving you information. So it says your job, click File, Save as last name underscore scatterplot. We already did that, so that's done. It says make sure you've changed the file name before you do any work. Okay, did that. Right here, this section says this is the template file you'll use to create your visualization. These are the libraries that you'll need. So the code has been written here so that we have the functionality to make these visualizations. And now here we come to our first your job. It says change the file name. So I need to change the file name to the name of my Excel file because it's reading from Excel. So it's got to be the exact same name. Mine was called umen_scatter.xls, umen_scatter.xlsx. Great. Let me make sure that I had a capital S for scatter. Yeah, so you got to make sure that if you have a lowercase s for scatter, then it should be lowercase here. Either way, this is done. This says this line gives you the measures of central tendency. Great. All right, now to my next your job. Change the X and Y axis label and the title of your scatter plot. All right, my Y axis, so that's going up and down. Well, I grabbed data about tons of CO2. So I'm going to put tons of CO2 equivalent measured in thousands. I don't know what your story that is that you told, so you just got to figure out what your y-axis is. My x-axis was years, and I can just go back and make sure that that's what it was, because when I look here, my y-axis is going to be years. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and go back to this, and I'll put in years. And then it says insert the title of your scatter plot. So for my title is CO2 emissions of US and Japan from 2013 to 2017. So be specific and descriptive in your title. What are you showing? All right, I'm done with that. It says now these lines create your scatter plot. So your job, change the column names to match the first two columns of your Excel file. Okay, so this should be column 1 name. So column 1 name is years. So I'll get rid of this quotation and I'll put data.years, and make sure that if it's capitalized here that it's capitalized over here. And then column 2 name was US, so data.US. All right, so again, that's capitalized, that's why it's capitalized here. Optional, if you want multiple line graphs, or this should say scatter plots to show, then edit the line below and delete, what does it say to delete? The hashtag. Okay, so now I want it to show, because I want one for Japan, so I'll get rid of that hashtag. Again, column 1 name is data.years, and then column 3 name, so the name of column number 3 is Japan, so I'll go ahead and click, or get rid of that and type in data.japan. All right, I did all of your jobs. I'm going to go ahead and click File, Save. And the way that I run Python is I click on Run and Run Module. And at this point, if I've done it right, then I've got a scatter plot. And it looks like I've got a scatter plot. If I widen it a little bit, now I've got tons of CO2 equivalent in thousands. So I've got my measurements, I've got my years. And now what I can do is just Command Shift 4, I can screenshot it and I can send it to Miss Shore in whichever way she wanted, whether it was through an email. I can also get my measures of central tendency, and I can also send that over to her. But at this point, I am done with my scatter plot.